Welcome in to Bengals Breakdown. I am your host, Stone Shields, and coming up on today's show, we're going to be breaking down some major changes to the Bengals starting lineup that I think we're going to see in 2025. Obviously, lots of different things have happened, right? You've had some guys leave, you've had new draft picks, you have new free agents that have come in, and really, you've had a lot of changes to the coaching staff as well. So we're going to be breaking down all of those changes here on today's show. But before we get into that, if you are excited for the 2025 NFL season, you can't wait for it, show it by liking today's video for me right now. Hitting that thumbs up icon, right? Something you should do for all of our videos here at Bengals Breakdown. We greatly appreciate it. Going for over 500 likes here on today's show. Let's see if we can't make it happen. All right. I think the biggest change that we have seen with this football team since the last time they took the field at the end of last season was the defensive coordinator. Obviously, he is not a player, but he is very, very important when it comes to what Cincinnati is trying to do and accomplish as a football team. And there's an insane amount of pressure on Al Golden, right? The Bengals, Zac Taylor, he always knew it was going to be Al Golden when he knew that Lou Anarumo was leaving, right? There wasn't a ton of guys that he interviewed. After Golden got wrapped up at Notre Dame, it was pretty obvious that he was going to be the guy. And we saw the Bengals bring back some guys in free agency that maybe we expected wouldn't come back, right? B.J. Hill, certainly a guy that I thought, you know what, it might be done here in Cincinnati. No, he comes back on a 3-year deal. You're bringing back Joseph Osai as well. You're committing to Geno Stone at that safety spot once again. You really are relying on Al Golden to get the most out of this group and help them play a lot better than they did last season. And obviously that is an extremely high amount of pressure on Al Golden. Now, he could be a massive upgrade, and I think he will be. He really could go out there and change this defense around. I think he has the ability to do it. We saw what he could do at the college level, and we saw what he could do as the Bengals linebackers coach back in 2021 when they went to the Super Bowl. Obviously, it could still be bad, right? And then you're in a situation there where if you're Zac Taylor, you just had the biggest decision to make of your career when it came to finding Lou Anarumo's replacement. And if that proves to be a failure, shoot, your job might be on the line. So really, this is a massive, massive decision that Cincinnati had to make. And we'll see if Al Golden can live up to the task. Do want to be very clear, this is exactly who I would have hired as well, and I believe that it will all work itself out, and he will still have a great job here and do a great job here in Cincinnati and really elevate that defense. This is what your staff looks like, right? Zac Taylor at that head coaching spot, Dan Pitcher, year 2 as the OC. Obviously, Callahan goes into his next year as the Titans head coach. Golden's your DC, Darrin Simmons, your longest tenured coach here as your special teams coordinator. I feel good about this core 4. We'll see if it ends up translating into wins on the football field. Pin comment time here on today's show. What's your confidence level in the Bengals coaching staff? Scale it for me in the comment section. 1 on the low end, 10 on the high end. Get that in the comment section of today's video for me right now. All right, Demetrius Knight Jr. Obviously is the next guy I want to be talking about here on today's show. And Demetrius Knight Jr., of course, is your second-round pick that you got out of South Carolina. And he's going to be called upon to really come in and do a great job filling in next to Logan Wilson as that linebacker. And I really have a lot of faith and a lot of confidence in Demetrius Knight Jr. that he can come in and really be a valuable piece to this football team. Now, the question is, what's his role going to look like, right? Is he going to be a starter for this football team, right? Is he going to come in and be a guy that, hey, they got to be relying on him day one to go out there and make a ton of plays on the football field? Or what exactly is that going to look like for Cincinnati at that linebacker spot? Also, another guy is Oren Burks, right? He is a guy that you're bringing in from the Philadelphia Eagles as a free agent. Won a Super Bowl last year. He is a veteran guy. I don't view him as a guy that's going to be an every down type of guy, but he definitely is a rotational piece. I view him as kind of that third linebacker. Also, Muma Jong-Maida. We all love Muma Jong-Maida, right? He was able to make the team for Cincinnati as a UDFA last year. I expect him to be back. What's his role going to look like defensively? Is he going to be more of just a special teams guy, or is he going to have an opportunity to work his way into Al Golden's defense? And also Barrett Carter, your third-round pick that you got, your fourth-round pick that you got out of Clemson at that linebacker spot. Obviously, he can do a lot of things as well. The Bengals really like his instincts and the way that he's able to move around on the football field. So it'll be interesting, if a Barrett Carter is a guy that could certainly come in the lineup and have a lot of impact for Cincinnati. Also, the defensive tackle position, that rotation is going to look totally different as well. You're bringing in some new faces there. Really, the major new face here is T.J. Slaton there at that nose tackle spot. Sheldon Rankins is on his way out. T.J. Slaton is your guy that you're bringing in, pairing him up with Jerry Montgomery, obviously. That connection there, the Bengals' new defensive line coach. And I got a lot of belief in T.J. Slaton. I think he's going to really do a great job of being a good run stopper for Cincinnati. And that's kind of going to be their main forte here is, hey, can we stop the run on early downs and then force teams into throwing the football on us and then, put ourselves in a position where we're setting ourselves up for success. Obviously, the Bengals didn't do a great job of stopping the run on early downs this past season, and it got them into a lot of trouble. Also, some UDFAs that could perhaps make the team at that defensive tackle spot, right? I think, if a UDFA is going to make this football team, I do think it will be at that defensive tackle spot. And I think all three of these guys have an opportunity to do that. Howard Cross III, obviously you got the Al Golden connection there with Notre Dame. Eric Gregory, and also your international pathway guy in Dante Barnett. He'll definitely be a part of the Bengals practice squad because he is not going to be taking up a roster spot. We will continue with our changes here in a second, but do want to give a shout out to our friends over at PrizePicks. PrizePicks is the best place to turn your sports knowledge into cash. With millions of members, PrizePicks has made daily fantasy sports accessible to all. You just pick more or less on at least 2 players for a shot to win up to 2,000 times your cash. Run your game all season long on PrizePicks. Cash in on the basketball playoffs with PrizePicks. Don't miss your chance to add your favorite players from the court to your PrizePicks lineup, whether it's points, rebounds, assists. Take your pick of more or less for your shot to win up to 2,000 times your cash today. Also have some season-long PrizePicks when it comes to the football side of things. Going with the less than on Jared Goff passing yards. Also going with the less than on Travis Kelce receiving yards. Also going with the less than on Jaden Daniels rushing yards. The beautiful thing about PrizePicks and the flex play is you don't have to get all 3 of those correct. You can miss one and still have an opportunity to double your cash. So download the app today. Use code CLNS. Get $50 instantly after you play that first $5 lineup. Again, download the app, use code CLNS. Get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. It's PrizePicks. Run your game. We'll put that link in the comment section and the description of today's show. All right, so another question that I have when it comes to the Bengals lineup here is who's going to start at those guard spots, right? Obviously, you know what you have in your tackles, right? Your 2 starting tackles, Orlando Brown Jr. and Amarius Mims. And at that center position, you've got Ted Karras there, at least for the short term. What are you going to do at those guard spots? I do think Dylan Fairchild will start in week 1. That is your round 3 pick out of Georgia. And I feel really confident that Scott Peters is going to be able to get him in and get him ready to go there at that guard spot. Now, what are you going to do at that right guard spot? Right? Lucas Patrick, you brought him in kind of at the tail end of NFL free agency, right? Cordell Volson's the guy that started for you the past couple of years, but he got benched several times as well. I think Cody Ford's a guy that they have a lot of confidence in. I view him more as a rotational piece. I kind of look at him as kind of that 6th offensive lineman. So if he's out there starting week 1, I'm not really thrilled about it, to be completely honest with you. But, hey, if he earns it through camp, preseason, so be it. Also, Jackson Kirkland's another guy to keep an eye on. I think the Bengals really liked what they had in him. Kirkland, of course, made the team last year. He's got that inside-outside flexibility there as well, but then he suffered a season-ending injury that kind of removed him from the equation a little bit. But it will be very interesting to see who starts at those guard spots for Cincinnati, something that I think is probably the biggest thing that we're going to be evaluating here throughout training camp. Who do you want to start at those guard spots, left guard and right guard for the Cincinnati Bengals? Let me know in the comment section of today's show. Also, next up here, how are the running backs going to be rotated, right? I think we all understand that, hey, Chase Brown is that running back 1. He looks like he's well on his way to being one of the next great running backs in the National Football League. But I think after that injury there to Zack Moss last year, he kind of found himself in a position where he was really taking all of the workload, and that's not something that Cincinnati wants, right? They want to take care of Chase Brown a little bit more than that, and they have the ability to do that here in 2025. Zack Moss is coming back for the Cincinnati Bengals. I think obviously that is a quality thing for this football team. Samaje Perine, of course, you're getting him back from the Kansas City Chiefs. We'll see what kind of split those two guys have. I would imagine Perine's going to be more of a third down back and not really get a ton of early down work, but we will see. Bengals, Joe Burrow, Zac Taylor obviously have a lot of trust in Samaje Perine. Also, your sixth-round pick, Taj Brooks, right? Taj Brooks is a guy that is definitely kind of a bigger back. He's got some flexibility to come out of the backfield and do some things there as well. I think the Bengals really got a steal in the sixth round with Taj Brooks. I've spoken about that a lot here on the show. I don't know what his role is going to look like here in year one, but I definitely think at some point we're going to see Taj Brooks take that next step to perhaps being that right-hand man to Chase Brown. But I think the Bengals running back room was a situation in a room in which you kind of went into the offseason having some concerns, but I think they did a great job of addressing it here this offseason, and I think it's really going to be in a good spot for 2025. And make sure you don't miss out on any Cincinnati Bengals coverage. When Bengals news happens, we got you covered here at the channel. Don't miss out. Hit that sub button for me, youtube.com/BengalsTV. All right, we're going to flip back to the defensive side of the ball here to round out today's show. I obviously talked about the interior defensive line and linebacker. Now I want to spend a little bit of time talking about those DBs, right? It's basically the same pieces. You don't have any new faces into that room. You have not added a DB at this point yet of the offseason. Obviously, you're probably going to lose Mike Hilton, although he hasn't signed with another football team. So how are they going to be deployed, right? How is Al Golden going to deploy these guys? I have Dax in the nickel here, but that's probably not going to be what ends up transpiring, right? He's probably going to be on the outside, and you're going to be looking at Josh Newton as that nickel guy for you for the Cincinnati Bengals. So who are you starting? You starting Turner or you starting CTB at that corner spot? I don't know. Obviously, you got two guys in Turner and Dax Hill coming off of injury, so going to be very interesting to monitor that. Bengals also bringing back Marco Wilson on a one-year deal, and DJ Ivey still on his rookie contract as well. So these guys are going to have to play a lot better for the Cincinnati Bengals football team. It will be very interesting to see how Al Golden deploys this unit. Now, edge rusher. Obviously, this position is incredibly dicey for the Cincinnati Bengals here at this point because you got the whole situation with Trey Hendrickson, right, which is, kind of, let's say it how it is, kind of a mess right now, that whole saga that is transpiring. And then Shamar Stewart, as of filming this video, has not signed his contract. That obviously is not ideal, and you really haven't had any production outside Trey Hendrickson in that position in quite some time. Joseph Osai is back on a one-year prove-it deal. Was he good enough last year? No, he was not. Cam Sample, he's coming off a serious injury there with his Achilles. Obviously, there's concern there. And obviously, Miles Murphy, your 2023 first-round pick, has not lived up to the expectation here at this point. So this room is very, very worrisome and very well could determine the success that the Cincinnati Bengals football team has as a whole, this room in particular. And it's going to be very important for this room to really improve and find a way to go play productive football this year.